Hello, my name is Robert, our robot teacher, and I'm coming to you from our Webtoonist classroom. And so basically you can see the difference is basically like art class. And now I'm going to discuss about week 6.1 discussion board. So the first question that we are supposed to answer is 1. Cultural issues in education and training are important to consider. Many students at UCM are from other countries, and you may very likely have international students at your own location. Regardless of where you work, you'll find an increasing diverse population. What are some crucial mistakes? How can you avoid them? What are some cultural mistakes specifically with educational technology? So, I went and I prepared a bunch of different things and topics to read about, and since my personal interest is in different cultures and understanding them, I really enjoyed this specific topic, and so I talked a lot in what I wrote. So I wrote a lot, that's what I'm going to say. So basically in general, I think humans, we should think about our privilege and think and analyze what's going on around us. A lot of times we forget and get complacent and assume that everyone around us is the same as us. So when we notice something strange happening with our student, we can address it. So 1, most people have access to some tablet or some computer with a webcam, some cell phone, but there's still people that don't have this access. And so if we want to implement this into our schools using tablets, using something online, doing the flipped classroom, we have to consider that. Are the students able to access the stuff at home? Are they able to do that at home? And that's why I think the traditional class was the way it was. They do the learning as the school, and then at home they do the homework, and it's just papers, something they write, or it was printed out for them back in the day. And so I understand why it happened that way. And so one thing that I think was different, and I don't know compared to other families when I was growing up, in my family, I remember when we had a desktop computer. I remember when I first got my laptop computer, and then finally when the school gave us computers, I think I was in middle school, I felt it was very beneficial that we were given it, and that they were allowing us to learn using the computers. But before that, I just had really old one with dial-up internet. I remember when we first got our Wi-Fi in our home. It was great. It was so amazing. But I remember my cell phone didn't have this wireless capability. So technology is changing a lot, but we have to compare different families, different backgrounds, understanding this way of communicating with each other. And so specifically, we talked about before about communicating online. I think most of the time we don't have classes about this. I'm just speaking at least in my realm and my part of the education that I do here in Korea. We don't learn about how are you supposed to communicate in an online setting. And I think that's kind of beneficial. I think it's necessary for us to go and teach people or teach the students just basic structure of what you're supposed to do, what you shouldn't do online, because it'll stop with the cyberbullying, or help at least, them to know that there's consequences for what you do, that you should be very knowing that this is not okay, this is okay. Different people from different countries, they come, if in the USA, many people are coming, they're taking classes, they were raised a different way, and so they think, oh, things are done this way, but then they see other people doing this, wow, that sounds kind of rude, why are they writing this way? But if you're not in the culture, know the nuances, that maybe something was meant to be the joke, you take offense to it. And that's the reason why we should be really we should educate people, I think, when we're talking about technology, when we're dealing with cultures. I think a lot of time we don't think about the differences until it happens. And so when these cultural bumps happen, I think it's important to discuss and talk about it. And if we're discussing and talking about these things, we're able to figure out what the problem was, understand each other, solve it. But if you don't, you just keep pushing it under, you don't talk about it, then it becomes a big problem and there's a blow up in the future. And that is not the best thing, I would say. And so basically keeping it, I think it's necessary for us to keep like an open mind. And when new technologies come out, we should test it a lot, see does it work. Maybe not just test it with like one group of people, test it like get a like focus group of multiple people from different backgrounds to test it. And so when you have this large group of people testing something, you get multiple responses, and then you're like, wow, I didn't even think about this as a situation or a potential way to view what was going on. And so basically I think it just comes down to communication and like a lot of pre-thinking, and how if something happens, how do you solve it? Talking, discussing, stuff like that. So I think in my lifetime, I have made cultural mistakes, I would say, but it's not related to technology, I would say, but just like communication mistakes that have happened. And so luckily, with my friends, I was able to discuss and talk about it, and we were able to solve the like difference that we had, or misunderstanding, or I could find, oh, I was wrong. I shouldn't have said something like this because blah blah blah. So just being open-minded and understanding and being able to say, oh, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. Learn from the mistake. And I think we can overcome these cultural differences that we see. And right now there's a lot going on in the USA. And I know, like, okay, let's not talk about it. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we should be thinking and discuss about and figure out the problem, and then we can solve it. But just one more thing. Decisions should not, I hope should not, and I wish would not be just made by one set of people. It should be a group of people working together to solve and make the best decision for everyone. And I think if we had that, it is more ideal. So thank you very much for listening. If you have any comments, please comment and let me know. Bye.